What if I told you that what happens behind closed doors could build a bond so powerful it transforms not only your relationship, but your very soul? Stay with me, because tonight we're going deeper than any magazine tip or viral video ever dared to go. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are not wandering through the shallow headlines of gossip columns or the flashy drama of tabloids. Tonight we step quietly but boldly into the sacred corridors of love, intimacy, and unbreakable connection. Because what truly happens between a man and a woman behind closed doors is never just physical. It is emotional, it is spiritual, and it carries a power beyond anything words alone can describe, a power to heal, to unite, to ignite something eternal. This message isn't about seduction for seduction's sake. It's not about some cheap thrill or momentary high. This is about transformation, the kind that turns routine into revelation, the kind that turns moments into milestones. Because true intimacy is never about sensation alone. It is about awakening something deeper, something that endures. And tonight I won't give you 5 quick tips or surface-level steps. I will share 6 key notes, because grace has a way of giving more than we ever expected. These truths aren't timid whispers. They deserve to be declared with the dignity of purpose and the fire of real understanding. First, be there. I don't mean just lie beside him in the dark or go through well-rehearsed motions, like an actress reading a script she's memorized 1,000 times. I mean, be there with every part of you, your spirit, your heart, your mind, and your soul. Bring the deepest parts of who you are as a woman into the moment. That is what shakes a man's heart to its core. That is what stirs something eternal in him, something that will never be satisfied with shallow performances. It's not tricks or techniques or some formula you read in a glossy magazine or stumbled across in an online video. It is your presence, real, raw, wholehearted, that has the power to break down walls and build something sacred in their place. The world teaches us how to perform. It teaches us how to wear masks. It tells us how to impress, how to pretend, how to keep up appearances, and hide the parts we're afraid to show. But real intimacy, the kind that leaves a man speechless, undone, and grateful beyond words that he ever met. You doesn't start from the outside moving in. It begins from the inside moving out. It begins the moment you show up fully as yourself, not lost in distraction, not stuck worrying about how you look, not trapped in your head with spiraling thoughts of insecurity. When you bring your entire presence into that sacred space, you become unforgettable. You become real. And real is rare. Look at him. Really look at him, not as an audience waiting for his reaction, not as a judge assessing his every move, but as a man who, just like you, longs to be seen without performance. When you look into his eyes without fear, without flinching, and you hold that gaze with quiet, unwavering strength, you're saying 1,000 things without speaking a single word. You're saying, "I'm not afraid of being truly known." You're saying, "You are not alone in this room." And that presence, your presence whole and undivided, is like a balm that melts away layers of shame, that silences the voices of comparison, that heals in ways hands alone never could. Because when your body is in the room, but your heart is locked behind invisible doors, he knows it. Even if he can't find the words to explain it, he feels that distance like a cold breeze drifting through the space between you. And that chill says more than silence ever could. But when you are there completely without trying to prove anything or win approval, something extraordinary happens. The room changes. Time seems to slow down. The air grows thick with anticipation and connection. Suddenly, you are not doing something to him. You are sharing something with him. And that difference, that difference is everything. That difference is what separates mere pleasure from deep connection. It's what turns an ordinary night into a memory that leaves a mark on the soul. It's what transforms something forgettable into something unforgettable. Because your presence fully offered says, I'm not here to perform. I'm here to meet you. It says, I am here to give, not to prove. It says, I am here to know you and to let myself be known. It's easy to slip into the world's trap of technique, of trying to get everything right, of trying to impress with moves or words you learned from someone else. But true intimacy is not found in a polished performance. It's found in two souls daring to show up, fully letting go of control, trusting each other with their truest selves. It's about sharing breath, sharing laughter, sharing whispers, sharing silence, and finding in each moment a deeper understanding of one another. So, tonight remember this. Your presence is more powerful than any technique. Your willingness to be seen, to be vulnerable, to stay, instead of retreating into your thoughts, that is what builds trust. That is what creates the kind of intimacy that grows stronger with time. The kind that leaves a legacy of love. The kind that makes a man say, I've never felt so close to anyone in my life. Because true connection isn't made through perfect performances. It's forged in the quiet moments when two hearts beat in unison, when two souls breathe the same hope, when two people choose to be present over perfect. And when you show up fully, mind, body, and soul, you're not just creating an experience. You're building a foundation strong enough to weather storms. A foundation that will hold you both steady when life tries to shake you apart. So, ask yourself, what are you bringing into these moments? Are you offering your true self, or are you hiding behind fear? Are you distracted by self-conscious thoughts, or are you embracing the sacred gift of real connection? The difference between a forgettable encounter and an unforgettable bond begins with your choice to be truly there. And when that meeting happens honestly, when two people come together without masks, without defenses, without agendas, it becomes something like a sacred communion. It's more than just physical or emotional, it's spiritual. It's a space where two souls speak in a language beyond words, where eyes say what mouths never could, where barriers that once felt impossible to break fall away effortlessly. In that space, love, or something beautifully close to it, starts to put down roots. It's a quiet miracle, a moment when time seems to slow and the world around you fades into silence. When a woman gives her full presence, not half of it, not distracted or cautious, but her complete, fearless, open-hearted presence, something shifts in the atmosphere. Without even trying, she transforms the space they share. She becomes more than simply beautiful. She becomes magnetic, necessary, unforgettable. She becomes peace. She becomes a sense of home he didn't know he was searching for. And men, whether they admit it or not, remember that kind of woman forever. They remember not because she did the most or performed perfectly, but because she was the most present, because she dared to show up fully, to let herself be seen, to offer the rarest of gifts herself. So I say this to every woman who longs for real connection: turn down the noise in your head. Forget the pressure to perform or to measure up to some imaginary standard. Release the act the world taught you to play. Let him see you, not just your body, but your soul, your fears, your softness, your strength. Let your presence be the gift that changes the room. Let it be the quiet fire that glows in your eyes, the silent thunder that rolls across the space and shakes something awake inside him. Because when a man meets a woman who is fully, completely, fearlessly present, he doesn't just notice her, he doesn't just desire her, he remembers her. And sometimes that memory walks beside him long after the night is over, lingering in his mind like the sweetest echo. Do not touch him the way the world tells you to. Don't reach for him like he's just a surface to be conquered, a box to check, or a means to prove your worth. Don't approach him like he's a prize to win or a puzzle to solve. Instead, touch him like he's a story you're choosing to read, slowly, savoring every word, every chapter, every hidden meaning. Touch him like your hands carry intention, like they hold a quiet reverence for the soul behind his skin. Because when a woman touches a man with intention, not haste, not habit, but deep, deliberate intention, something inside him shifts. Something unspoken softens, like a wall he didn't know he'd built begins to crack. He may not know how to name what he's feeling, but he'll feel it deeply. And he will never forget it. Remember, the body can be spoken to like a language. And your hands are the very first sentences. So, what do your hands say when they reach for him? Do they say, "I'm here to take what I can get"? Or do they whisper, "I'm here to give something of myself"? Do they say, "This is just a performance"? Or do they say, "This is a prayer, a moment of devotion"? A man may never be able to articulate exactly what he feels when you touch him with purpose, but he will always know the difference between a hand that claims him like an object and a hand that honors him like a person. Touch is not about pace. It's about purpose. It's not about technique. It's about intention. When your hand comes to rest on his chest, let it rest with weight, not because you're heavy, but because you are truly present. Let your touch tell him you are not alone. Let it say, "I am here with you fully." When your fingertips trace the lines of his skin, let it be more than a routine motion. Let it be an act of witnessing, of seeing him as he is, of saying without words, "I see you." And I choose to stay, because at the deepest level, what a man truly longs for isn't to be impressed by someone's performance, but to be seen for who he really is. He wants to feel that in your presence, he can set down his armor, that he doesn't have to perform, or compete, or prove his worth. He wants to know that when you reach for him, you see more than a body. You see the boy who still lives inside him, the man he's trying to become, the fears he carries quietly, the dreams he barely dares to speak. And when you touch him with that kind of intentionality, you are giving him something the world cannot offer: a moment of peace, a sense of safety, a glimpse of unconditional acceptance. That is what melts away the layers of defense. That is what creates a bond stronger than mere attraction. That is what leaves a man with a memory of you that will not fade with time, a memory that will stand even when everything else changes. So take a breath, slow down, let go of what you think you're supposed to do. Show up, be real, be present. Because in the end, it's not perfection that builds lasting intimacy. It's presence. It's the quiet courage to say with your eyes, your hands, your whole being, "I'm here. I see you, and you matter." And your touch, as silent as it may seem, can become the clearest, most undeniable voice in the room. In a world that has trained us all to crave speed, quick rewards, and endless stimulation, true connection requires us to slow down. Deep touch, the kind that makes a man exhale from the very depths of his soul, doesn't hurry. It pauses, it listens, it lingers with intention. It says, "I'm not rushing through you. I'm here to learn you to know you beyond the surface." That kind of touch is so rare, it almost feels like a forgotten language. But it's a language every heart still longs to hear. It's a touch that can heal wounds no one else can see. There's a reason why a single hand placed softly, yet deliberately on a man's chest, can quiet a storm raging inside him. Why a slow, thoughtful caress can whisper, "You are safe here," even when every word in the world fails to bring comfort. Because your touch, when given with awareness and intention, is far more than physical. It is spiritual. It carries energy, it carries meaning, and it carries a truth deeper than any conversation. So touch him like you mean it. Like you're not afraid to be gentle, not ashamed to be powerful, because you are both, and your touch can carry both strength and softness in the same moment. Be deliberate, be slow, be quiet. Let your fingers speak volumes when words feel too small. Let your silence be so full of presence that it wraps him in calm, like a warm blanket on a cold night. Because a man may forget many things in his lifetime. He may forget faces, lose names, and let entire days slip from memory. But he will never forget how you made him feel when your hands spoke love, care, and reverence without a single word. That kind of touch doesn't just create fleeting pleasure. It creates a memory that roots him, humbles him, opens him, and teaches him that there is something beyond desire, something called devotion. So remember this: your touch is not decoration. It is declaration. It is not a mere tool. It is a testimony of who you are and what you offer. And when you give it with intention, with reverence, and without rushing, it can speak louder than any voice ever could. There is something sacred in what remains unspoken, something profoundly powerful in what is not given all at once. In a world obsessed with revealing everything immediately, with exposing every detail and explaining every mystery, there is a quiet, holy defiance in choosing to hold something back, not out of fear, not as manipulation, but as a reverent honoring of yourself and of the moment. When a woman treasures the mystery within her, she becomes unforgettable, not because she withholds, but because she understands that what is rare becomes precious, and what is slowly discovered becomes deeply remembered. Mystery is not a game. It's not a cheap trick or a way to control. It's not about hiding the truth. It's the art of honoring depth, the quiet confidence that says, "You don't have to know all of me at once." Let the knowing unfold moment by moment, because when you reveal everything too quickly, you invite consumption. But when you let yourself be slowly discovered, you invite reverence. And in that reverence, a connection is born that no performance could ever match. There is a profound difference between a spark and a flame. A spark is exciting. It flashes bright, quick, and hot, but it fades just as quickly, leaving darkness in its wake. A flame, on the other hand, when tended with patience and care, burns long and steady. It offers warmth, light, and comfort. It is not gone in an instant, but grows stronger with time. Mystery, when honored wisely, is the tending of that flame, the gentle, intentional act of allowing a connection to deepen slowly, to breathe, to grow. When you walk into that room, when you lie next to him in the quiet glow of lamplight, you don't have to rush to reveal everything you are. You don't need to empty your soul all at once or share every scar, every dream, every story in a single night. You don't need to give him all your light right away, as if proving your worth means laying yourself bare. Let him feel that there's more. Let him sense that beneath the softness of your touch, beneath the silence between your words, there is a vast world waiting patiently to be discovered. A woman who honors her own mystery understands her worth deeply. She does not scramble for validation. She does not feel desperate to be immediately understood or to perform every part of herself to be chosen. She is content to simply be. She knows the value of patience not only for herself, but also as a gift to the man who wants to know her. She knows the power of letting time do its quiet work, allowing connection to deepen with each shared moment. You don't have to fill every silence with chatter. You don't have to explain every glance, every smile, every breath. There's something sacred, almost holy, in letting silence speak for you. When you pause, instead of rushing to fill the air, when you meet his gaze and hold it without flinching, when you smile without immediately giving away the reason you open a door to wonder. In those quiet, unspoken moments, he feels it. The unknown becomes a sanctuary, a sacred space where curiosity replaces impatience, and desire shifts from a fleeting craving for your body to a deeper longing for your presence, your being, your essence. The power of mystery is not found in confusion or manipulation. Its power lies in clarity, the unshakable knowledge that you don't need to be decoded or consumed to be valuable, that you are not something to be used up, but someone to be cherished. Mystery says, I know my worth. I don't need to prove it by giving it all away at once. And in that clarity, you create an irresistible invitation for a man to lean in to listen to wonder. Because wonder is what keeps love alive. It's what makes the heart lean forward, what makes the soul whisper quietly. There is so much more here. Let me stay. Let me know you more. The world screams at women to reveal more, to give more, to show more skin, more secrets, more everything, as if our value grows with every piece we expose. But the truth is just the opposite. What is truly valuable is never thrown recklessly into the open. It is unveiled slowly, carefully, intentionally. A diamond is not tossed into the street for anyone to grab. It is lifted delicately from the earth, examined with reverence, polished and cherished. Its worth lies not in its exposure, but in the care given to reveal it. In the same way, a woman who carries herself with a sense of mystery is not less generous. She is more sacred. She is a treasure, revealed in chapters each page more meaningful than the last. She understands that what is rare becomes precious, and what is slowly discovered becomes deeply remembered. Her quiet confidence speaks louder than 1,000 words. It says, you don't have to know all of me tonight. Let the knowing unfold over time. So let him wonder. Let him find depth in your pauses. Let him hear stories in your silences. Let him feel the richness of what you don't rush to say. Let him chase the echo of your laughter down the hallways of his memory. Let him ponder the meaning behind your stillness, search for the truth shining in your steady gaze. That is not a game played to control. It is grace offered to invite. It is not withholding love. It is honoring its power. And in a world where everything is rushed from conversations to confessions, there is something beautifully defiant about choosing to unfold yourself, like a story worth reading slowly. Because when a woman embraces her mystery, she becomes unforgettable. Not because she hides herself, but because she knows her worth is not measured by speed or exposure. She understands that what is treasured most is revealed at the right time, in the right way, to the one willing to wait and wonder. And remember, grace never shouts. It whispers softly, powerfully in the quiet spaces of presence. When you become that mystery fully present, yet revealing yourself slowly, layer by delicate layer, you don't just capture his mind for a moment. You move his spirit in a way that no words, no rehearsed explanation could ever replicate. This is where connection goes beyond the physical and touches something eternal. Because there is no right choreography that guarantees intimacy. There is no perfect script that unlocks sacredness. When you step into that moment with him, don't ask yourself, how do I perform? Ask yourself instead, how do I simply be? Don't move like someone following stage directions in a play meant to entertain strangers. Move like something ancient, wise, and wildly alive is awakening deep inside you. Move like you remember who you truly are, like every breath you take carries the memory of your own strength and softness, your power and your grace. Because when a woman moves like a poem instead of a script, she stops being a performance and becomes living art. And art doesn't beg to be understood, it simply exists. And in existing so fully, it transforms everyone who witnesses it. The world teaches women to mimic, to study others, to memorize moves, to imitate what's been done before, to rehearse until they're perfect copies. But mimicry might win short-lived applause. It will never win hearts. And what a man truly longs for, especially in those quiet hours when desire meets vulnerability, is not a well-rehearsed imitation of someone else's moves. It's authenticity, it's presence, it's truth in motion. He doesn't need a show. He needs to feel you moving like you have nothing to prove, like you are already enough, like you are fully yourself, and you know it. That is where your power lives. Your body has its own sacred rhythm, its own natural music that no one else can hear. You were not made to dance to someone else's tune. The curve of your hips, the rise and fall of your breath, the subtle stillness of your pauses. Each carries the unique fingerprint of something divine, something only you can bring into the world. There is no wrong step when you move with honesty. There is no misstep when your movements flow from your soul instead of a checklist in your head. So let go of the mirror, reflecting who you think you should be. Let go of the voices in your mind, replaying the lines you believe you must follow. Let your body speak in its own language, one only you can translate. When you move with intention not to impress someone, but to express something, you become unforgettable. You become the moment itself, the memory he can't let go of, the experience that lingers far beyond the night. You don't have to overreach. You don't have to overprove. In fact, the deepest connections are born in the moments of subtlety. The quiet pauses, the gentle shifts, the unhurried slowness that invites a man to lean closer, to wonder, to feel more. A subtle tilt of your head, a soft inhale, a change in the rhythm of your breath. All of these, when done with presence instead of performance, say more than 1,000 grand rehearsed gestures ever could. This isn't about being provocative for the sake of provocation. It's about being true to yourself, to the moment, to what you feel. When you move like a poem, every line you create with your body is unique. Sometimes it flows smoothly like a river. Sometimes it hesitates like a breath caught in your chest. Sometimes it whispers like a secret only the two of you can hear, but every time it means something real. That's what makes it powerful. That's what makes it unforgettable. A script follows order rigidly, step by step. A poem moves from feeling unpredictably, beautifully, honestly. When your body moves like it feels, instead of performing as if it's being watched, he will feel that difference deep in his bones. He will sense that what you offer him is not just movement, but meaning, not just touch, but truth. And in those moments, you're not just sharing a dance or an embrace. You're inviting him into something sacred. You're teaching him without words that connection isn't built through perfection, but through presence. That love isn't found in rehearsed steps, but in real, raw moments where two people dare to be seen as they are. As we discovered before, when you move from your truth instead of a script, you invite him into something real, something unforgettable. And when that authenticity shines through your every gesture, it will shake something deep inside him, something he may not even know existed. So, do not let the rush of the world pull you away from yourself. Do not let expectations choreograph your intimacy or convince you that you must perform. You don't owe him a flawless rhythm. You owe him your reality. And the most breathtaking gift a woman can offer is her unfiltered, unguarded self, expressed not through noise or perfection, but through quiet, confident presence. Let your movement be as much about the pauses, the stillness, the soft moments of breath, as it is about motion. Let it rise and fall, not to meet a standard, but simply because it feels right in the moment. Let it be guided not by demands or imagined audiences, but by the honest desire you feel in that quiet space between you. Because he will not remember the order of your movements. He will not remember the sequence or the patterns. But he will remember the feeling of the moment when you stopped performing and started truly being. He will remember when your movement stopped following rules and began following your truth. That is the moment that lingers long after the night is over. That is the moment that breaks the old script and writes something holy, something sacred in its place. So move not as if you're acting, not as if you're putting on a show, but as if you are fully alive. Move like you are at home in your own skin. Let the silences between movements speak with as much power as the movements themselves. Because when you do, you won't just catch his eye. You will stir his spirit. And that right there is where real intimacy is born, in the space where two souls meet without pretense. There is a kind of strength the world rarely recognizes or celebrates. A strength that isn't loud, aggressive, or forceful. A strength that knows how to yield without ever losing itself. That is the kind of strength we're speaking of now. Not submission mistaken for weakness, not silence forced by fear, but the quiet, confident power of a woman who knows how to soften without disappearing. A woman who knows how to open without losing herself, how to bend without breaking. You see, there's a misunderstanding that has been handed down through generations, a lie whispered to women, that to give they must lose themselves, that to open up they must empty themselves completely, that to be soft they must become small. But the truth is the opposite: real femininity. Sacred softness doesn't shrink who you are. It expands you. It fills the room not with noise or bravado, but with an undeniable magnetic presence. When a woman yields with clarity, with her still, quiet strength, it doesn't erase her. It makes her radiant. Yielding is not about surrendering your identity or dissolving into someone else's shadow. It is choosing connection over control. It is saying, I trust what's happening here enough to meet it fully. And that choice, that willingness to open, is not weak, it is deeply courageous, because it takes a powerful sense of self to offer without fear, to soften, without hiding behind armor. But remember, this yielding should never mean erasing who you are. You are not there to fade into the background like a ghost. You are there to be like the moon, gentle in your glow, yet impossible to ignore in your quiet brilliance. A man may lead. He may reach for you, pursue you, desire you. But it is in your yielding, your deliberate, trusting softness, that he finds his grounding. And in that space where his strength meets your softness, something sacred is born. Not because you vanished into him, but because you created space for something real, something lasting, something profound to happen between you. When you yield with intention, not out of fear or habit, but from a deep, steady choice, you open the room for intimacy to blossom, for trust to deepen, for power to be shared, not seized or stolen. And that kind of yielding, quiet yet deliberate, speaks louder than any grand declaration or passionate words. You don't have to match his energy with a performance or force yourself to meet some imagined standard. You don't have to outdo him or outshine anyone. Your quiet is not absence, it is presence. Your softness is not weakness, it is strength. You are fully there, heart and soul. You are yielding, but not retreating. You are allowing him to come close, not letting yourself fade away. That is the difference, the powerful, unmistakable difference that he feels, whether he can put it into words or not. You can say yes without ever losing your right to say no. You can lean in with openness without falling away into nothingness. And when you do, he feels the safety in that. He senses the quiet strength of your boundaries, even as you offer your tenderness. He understands, sometimes only instinctively, that you are giving, but you are not giving yourself away. That balance teaches him something precious, something about respect, about the harmony of give and receive, about how a woman can offer without being emptied. This kind of yielding is not about surrendering control to him. It's about choosing trust, choosing presence, choosing to be fully open while remaining fully rooted. It is the slow, deliberate act of saying, with every breath, I am here. I am with you, but I am still me. That is the essence of mystery. That is the magnetic pull that draws him in deeper than the surface. Because when you yield like that, strong yet soft, open yet grounded, you don't just captivate him for a moment. You reshape his entire understanding of what true intimacy feels like. You become the place where he doesn't feel the need to dominate, to win, or to play games. Instead, he learns to honor. And in that honoring, something holy begins to grow between you, a sacred trust, a connection that can withstand time, struggle, and silence. So yield, but don't disappear. Offer yourself, but don't vanish. Be soft, but don't shrink. Let your presence remain strong even as your body opens. Let your voice be felt even when you are silent. Because the woman who knows how to yield without losing herself isn't just unforgettable, she is transformative. There is a language older than any word ever spoken, more piercing than any sound ever heard, and more intimate than the softest touch. It is the language of the eyes. And when a woman learns to speak this language honestly, not with performance, not with pretense, but with raw, unguarded truth, she becomes unforgettable. Because a man may forget the words you said. He may even forget what you did on a particular night, but he will never ever forget the way you looked at him when your spirit was wide open and your soul stood unafraid. The eyes are not merely decoration, they are declaration. They reveal what your mouth cannot or dares not say. They are not simply part of you, they speak you, they show you, they become you in the quiet moments of deepest connection. And when you meet his eyes without flinching, without rushing to look away, or to hide behind a practiced smile, you reach something inside him that he may not even know needed to be reached. It undoes something in him. It slips past his pride, past the armor he wears, past the performance he shows the world. It goes directly to the places inside him that rarely see the light, the places where he feels most alone. And it says simply and powerfully, I see you. And I'm still here. The world has taught us to use our eyes to attract, to seduce, to manipulate. But what if you use them instead to connect, to steady him when life feels chaotic, to quiet the storm inside him, to offer a gaze that asks nothing in return, but to simply be present? When you lock eyes with a man and hold that gaze not as a tactic, but as a truth, it shakes him. It moves him in ways he might never fully explain. Because in that moment, you are no longer just a woman beside him. You become a mirror reflecting his truest self, a witness to his hidden fears and hopes, a presence that sees beyond his surface and welcomes his soul. Let your eyes carry reverence, not judgment. Let them tell him without words you are safe here. Let them remind him that he is seen in a way that asks for nothing but gives everything the gift of being known. And as you hold that gaze, remember it is not about intensity or a perfect stare. It is about being present, honest, and unafraid. Because when you look at him with that kind of presence, you give him something he will never forget: the memory of being fully seen, deeply accepted, and quietly loved. Just as we discovered how the language of your eyes can open a man's heart, let's lean deeper into this truth. Because when you choose to see and to be seen, you create moments that linger far beyond the night. Let your eyes tell him, I am not performing. I am present. Let them speak what words cannot, that this is not about power or who holds control. This is about connection, about being right here, right now, fully awake to the moment and to each other. Because when you speak with your eyes, you speak from the deepest, truest part of yourself. And that is what he will remember when the lights are off, when the room falls silent, when life grows loud and chaotic once again. Don't underestimate the quiet power of a steady gaze. Don't rush past it, chasing something noisier, something flashier. Stillness in your eyes is not emptiness. It is presence. It is power held with grace. It is truth that unfolds slowly like dawn, rising over the horizon. You don't need to make your eyes dramatic with forced intensity or exaggerated expressions. You need only to make them honest, clear, and unafraid. Because there is nothing more captivating than a woman who sees the truth and refuses to look away. When your eyes say, I see you and I am here, you tell him that what's happening between you is not just physical. It is real. It is alive. And that realness doesn't fade. When the night ends, it stays with him, echoing through his memories. Even in silence, your eyes can say, "I want to be here," or whisper, "I'm not afraid of you," or promise, "You are not alone in this." And when you say these things without a word, he hears you in the deepest part of himself, the part that rarely finds rest in a world that demands so much and gives so little. Because no matter how strong, how confident, or how experienced a man may seem, there is always a quiet longing in him to be seen, not judged, not fixed, but simply seen as he truly is. And when your eyes meet his with softness, instead of scrutiny, with acceptance, instead of expectation, you give him a rare and precious gift, the feeling of being received without condition. So let your gaze find his, not constantly, not forced, but in moments that matter. Let there be pauses in your passion when your eyes meet and speak volumes. Let there be times when they linger in the quiet aftermath, when you remind him with a single look that what you shared was sacred, that it wasn't just a moment of intensity, but a moment of truth. When your eyes soften after the heat of the moment, they tell him, "This is safe. You are safe." And that safety is what invites him to open, to trust, to stay. Because that gaze, that wordless truth, will live in his memory long after the room has darkened, long after your hands have parted. The eyes do not lie. And when they speak with grace, with fierce honesty, with quiet presence, they don't just blow his mind. They quiet his fears, soothe his insecurities, stir his soul, and remind him that true intimacy has never been about the perfect words. It has always been about seeing and being seen. Your eyes become the place where love breathes. They are a mirror, reflecting what you hold inside: your strength, your tenderness, your courage to stay present when vulnerability feels terrifying. And in that mirror, he sees a truth he may not even know he needs. That love is not performance, connection is not conquest, and real intimacy is not found in the loudness of passion, but in the quiet bravery of presence. So hold his gaze when it matters most. Let your eyes soften the sharp edges of the world around him. Let them be the refuge where he can rest his worries, the sanctuary where he can remember who he is beyond his achievements or failures. Let them remind him that in your eyes he is not just wanted, but welcomed. Because when you choose to see him fully, and to let yourself be seen in return, you create the kind of intimacy that words alone could never build. You forge a bond made of truth and trust, of presence and peace. And that more than any gesture, any touch, any phrase, is what stays with him, the quiet knowing that in your gaze he found home. So remember, this intimacy has never been about saying the perfect things or playing the perfect part. It has always been about seeing and being seen, about choosing presence over performance. When your eyes speak honestly, you don't just create connection. You create memories that last, moments that heal, and love that endures.